Right now across the entire auto industry, something huge is going on. I mean, from the car you drive every day to the massive 18-wheelers on the highway, the whole industry is going through this giant and, let's be honest, pretty painful reset. So let's break down how this great auto reset is changing literally everything, starting with the price you pay at the dealership. It really all starts with a number that's hitting a lot of us right where it hurts: $48,000. That is the average price of a new car in the US today. And no, you heard that right. It's a massive 30% jump in just 5 years. And look, this isn't just some abstract statistic. This is what people are feeling. As one car shopper put it, the prices are just astronomical. And that feeling of sticker shock, that's the new reality for pretty much anyone trying to buy a new car right now. Yeah, the tech is getting better, for sure, but the price tag is growing a whole lot faster. So that brings us to the big questions we're going to tackle here. How on earth did we get to a point where the average car is just out of reach for the average family? And maybe more importantly, where is all of this headed? What does this mean for the future of driving? Okay, first things first. Let's dive right into the heart of the problem: this affordability crisis. It's really about the slow and then all of a sudden disappearance of the car you could actually afford. So check this out, because this really paints a picture. Just a few years ago, before 2018, about a fifth of all new cars sold for under 20 grand. Now, look at today. That whole affordable segment, it's basically gone. It's been completely hollowed out and replaced by this huge boom in cars that cost over $60,000. The entire market's been shoved upscale, and a lot of people are getting left behind. So why? Why is this happening? Well, a big part of the answer lies with a strategy coming out of Detroit's legacy automakers. It's this high wire act that, frankly, seems to be putting profits above everything and everyone else. What you're looking at here is a complete 180 in strategy. The old playbook for Detroit was simple: volume. Just sell as many cars as you can, even if the profit on each one is tiny. The new strategy? It's the total opposite: profit. Sell fewer cars, but make sure every single one is a high margin, fully loaded SUV or truck. And here's what happens when you do that. In 2023, automakers like GM and Ford posted record high profits. But, and this is a big but, at the very same time, their slice of the US market was shrinking. They're literally making more money by selling cars to fewer people. Now, the real risk here is huge. They are basically walking away from the entry-level market, leaving the door wide open for foreign competitors to swoop in and build brand loyalty with a whole new generation of buyers. But, this strategy has a cost that goes way beyond market share. Just take the iconic Hemi V8 engine. Stellantis, Ram's parent company, decided to drop it for an inline six that was, okay, technically better, but the enthusiasts, they felt completely betrayed. And you can see it right there in the sales numbers. They totally tanked. Earning back that kind of loyalty is incredibly tough. And if you want a really stark example of a brand that's lost its way, you don't have to look any further than Chrysler. I mean, this was a pillar of American industry, and it's just been chipped away year after year until all that's left is one single model: a minivan. It's a really powerful cautionary tale about what happens when a brand just loses its identity. Now, this isn't just happening here at home, so let's zoom out a bit, because there are these huge global pressures squeezing the entire industry, from full-on trade wars to fierce new competition. Okay, get ready for this number, because it is absolutely jaw-dropping: 92.7%. That is Porsche's profit collapse in 1 year, and the reason is fascinating. Unlike their German rivals like BMW and Mercedes, who build a lot of cars right here in the US, Porsche imports 100% of their vehicles. That leaves them completely exposed to any kind of trade dispute. And it's not just one thing either. It's this multi-layered problem. First, you've got a baseline tariff of up to 25% on the car itself. But then you've got tariffs on the raw materials, like a 50% duty on the lightweight aluminum that Porsche absolutely relies on. It all adds up to an economic nightmare that tacks on thousands to the sticker price. And while all these legacy automakers are getting tangled up in tariffs and strategy shifts, new challengers are just blowing past them. A Chinese EV truck maker called Windrose just delivered its first heavy-duty truck here in the US. This is proof that the disruption isn't just coming for your family sedan, it's already here for the trucking industry too. And just look at how close this new competitor is to the supposed market leader. The Windrose truck goes head-to-head with the Tesla Semi on almost every single piece spec, from its range to its power. I mean, this isn't some distant threat we're talking about. This is a real, live fight for the future of logistics, and it's happening right now. So with all that said, let's bring this down to the ground level, to the actual people who keep our economy moving. What does all this chaos and turmoil mean for the individual truck driver out there on the road? Well, for one, there's a new legislative battle brewing over a bill called Delilah's Law. Now, if this passes, it would create a new nationwide standard that requires all commercial driver's license, or CDL tests, to be passed in English only. It would also verify the immigration status of anybody applying. Supporters, like this director of training, they argue it's just a matter of safety, plain and simple. Their view is that to operate an 80,000-pound rig safely on American highways, you have to be able to read the traffic signs and communicate clearly in English. They see it as a fundamental requirement. But on the other side of the debate, critics are calling the bill discriminatory. They argue it could have a really bad economic impact by making the nation's already critical truck driver shortage even worse. So it's this real debate that pits safety standards directly against labor needs. And while that whole debate is raging in Washington, drivers are feeling a much more immediate pressure at the pump. During a recent price spike tied to global events, the average price of a gallon of diesel fuel hit $5.38. For a trucker, that is a direct, painful hit to their bottom line every single day. So when you pull all these different threads together, it becomes crystal clear that what we're looking at is a fundamental remapping of the entire auto industry as we know it. So let's just recap the big takeaways here. You've got four massive forces all hitting at the exact same time. You've got aggressive new competition from China, the really expensive and messy transition to EVs, the rise of AI and automation in the factories, and this global backdrop of rising trade barriers. Because of all these pressures, automakers can't just make a few small changes to the old way of doing things. No, they have to rethink everything, literally from the ground up, where they build their cars, what powers them, and even more fundamentally, who can even afford to buy them anymore. The Great Auto Reset isn't coming. It's happening right now. As the entire industry gets rebuilt piece by painful piece, it leaves us all with one final, really important question. When all this dust finally settles, who's actually going to be in the driver's seat?